Hi there. I'd like to do episode 1 of a series where I'm going to read some stories from this Storyworth book I put together called A Collection of Mostly Accurate Family Stories. And if you don't know what Storyworth is, it's an interesting online service where every week they send you a prompt question. So you write a story, an answer to that question. And after doing that for 52 straight weeks, I put together this book. So what I want to do today is read the introduction. And this is what I wrote on Christmas Eve, 2023. My darling daughters, Mackenzie and Maureen, gave me a very interesting Christmas present, a Storyworth subscription. Storyworth is an online service that helps people write stories about their lives. Each week, an email is sent with an essay prompt, such as, describe one of your most memorable birthdays, or what's one of the most beautiful places you've ever been? When you receive your weekly prompt, you simply write out your response on your personal Storyworth webpage. The software collects and compiles the stories, and after 1 year, the 52 essays are printed in a hardcover book and mailed to you. Voila! You now have a keepsake journal that you can pass on to your children and grandchildren so they can know the real you and have something to remember you by long after you're gone. I think Storyworth is a fascinating concept, and I'm looking forward to participating in this exercise during the coming year. My daughters were very honest about the whole thing when they told me, hey Dad, what we got you for Christmas is basically a homework assignment every week for the next 12 months. And that is true. But my daughters know that I love to write. I've been doing freelance writing for the past 3 decades or so, and I really enjoy the creative process of turning a bunch of disjointed and incomplete thoughts into a coherent essay. And if I ever do a coherent essay one of these years, I'll let you know. I've written over 1,100 humor columns for a local newspaper since I first landed that gig in 2001. Plus at least 1,400 faith essays since the mid-1990s. I saw some online comments about Storyworth, and one post warned that it's not a great gift for everyone. Some people may not like to write at all, and others may not be comfortable writing about their personal lives. For these people, the gift could cause a lot of resentment and stress. In my case, I enjoy writing, so resentment and stress will not be an issue. Correction. Resentment will not be an issue, but I can't promise there will not be some stress involved. You see, although I do enjoy writing, my regular day job is often so hectic I never seem to have enough time to write as much as I'd like. My weekly newspaper deadline is always a frantic scramble, along with the separate essay I compose and record each week for WJMJ, the radio station for the Archdiocese of Hartford. In addition, there are a couple of other things that have cropped up recently. First, I've been pondering an idea for at least 4 or 5 years now that I think could be an interesting book, or at least a short story. The tentative title is The Unauthorized Autobiography of Saint Joseph. It would be a first-person account about Joseph's life, told by the saint himself near the end of his life as he looks back on all the remarkable and divine occurrences he experienced. Since there is not a single word quoted by Joseph in the Bible, the reason he is often referred to as the silent saint, I thought it would be fun to make him a very garrulous and excited character who tends to overreact when unexpected things occur. The story would not be sacrilegious in any way, but I think it has the potential to be playful and interesting. Okay, so I wrote this in December of 2023, and in the meantime, I actually wrote that book and self-published it. The final title was The Memoir of Saint Joseph, a work of spiritual imagination. You can find it on Kindle. So I've been making a lot of notes in recent weeks trying to outline Joseph's story, and I really hope to get serious about it after the holidays. Now, maybe my Joseph project needs to stay on the back burner for a while longer. Another odd thing that cropped up recently is an email I received from a total stranger who stumbled across some of my faith essays on my blog site. He just wanted to let me know that he enjoyed them, and then he explained that he produces movies with Catholic and Christian themes. I watched about 20 minutes of one of his movies online, and frankly, I found it kind of simplistic and sappy. and that's where the story should have ended. But being the knucklehead that I can be at times, I didn't just reply to his email with the words, "Thank you." I instead attached the manuscript of a short story I wrote years ago called A Connecticut Yankee in King Jesus' Court. And yes, the format is a total ripoff of Mark Twain's famous novel. I asked this movie producer to read it and let me know if he thought it might make a good movie. I still think it would make a really good movie. He replied with some legal mumbo jumbo, explaining that movie producers never read unsolicited stories as it leaves them open to lawsuits if something even remotely similar to an aspect of the manuscript ever shows up in one of their movies. But he did tell me that he would be willing to read a screenplay version of my story. Okay, fine, I replied. So who's going to write the screenplay version? His answer? You are, Bill. Here's a sample screenplay so you can understand the format. Let me know if you have any questions. Yeah, here's my first question. When am I going to find time to do this? So I'm just giving you an idea of how much I like to write, how many topics I want to write about, and how little free time I have right now. But there is no doubt in my mind that my wonderful Storyworth Christmas gift takes precedence right now. Those other projects can wait. I am very excited to be at the very start of this journey and to know that in 12 months, a detailed manuscript of my thoughts and dreams and personal history in printed hardcover format will be the end result. And here it is. Both of my daughters already know that many of the topics I've covered in my newspaper column are of a personal nature. However, I suspect the Storyworth question prompts will help me delve into personal experiences I've never written about before. The one thing I'll have to guard against is exaggeration. There are not too many people I know besides myself who can say in all honesty, I get paid to make stuff up. I'll try to keep my Irish blarney to a minimum. If you're not sure what that means, blarney is the belief that it's more important to tell an interesting story than an accurate story. My essays will be as accurate as possible, although if my recollection of childhood events are fuzzy, I'll have to fill in the blanks as best I can. And I think we all know what that means. So thank you very much for this wonderful gift, Mackenzie and Maureen. I love you both more than anything in the world, and I hope this writing project during the next 52 weeks will be an exciting journey. Okay, so that was my first essay in this book, and I'd like to just record and recite a handful of the more interesting ones. So there is a video record of some of the history in the Dunn family, some of the weird and wonderful things I've done in my life, and that you guys could just go to YouTube whenever you want and watch me read something from long, long ago. Thank you.